John Rolfe was one of the earliest English settlers in the North American colonies. Following a period of intense starvation and economic instability, he is credited with the discovery of marketable tobacco as a staple crop in the Chesapeake colonies, which stabilized the economy that was on a downward spiral and allowed for increased population growth. The increase in the agricultural sector created a need for cheap labor to farm the tobacco and led to the entrenchment of the institution of slavery as indentured servitude became undesirable and impractical in the eyes of the colonists.
Thus, John Rolfe impacted U.S. history when he saved the Chesapeake Bay colonies, the first British colonies in North America, from certain extinction and secured the growth and success of the English colonies as a whole through his discovery of tobacco. The discovery of tobacco created a basis for the economy to profit off of, which further led to the entrenchment of slavery in America for centuries to come.
Although land had been discovered previous to English colonization, the Chesapeake Bay colonies were established originally as a charter through the Virginia Joint Stock Company. Jamestown was the first colony to be established by the English in North America.
The colonists were of aristocratic descent and new to the unfamiliar climate of the New World, so they did not know how to live off the land. A bitterly cold winter and lack of food led to a period of intense starvation, known as the Starving Times, after which only 60 colonists were left alive.
It was during this period of intense colonial turmoil and tragedy that the soil of Jamestown was finally graced by the saving presence of the man, the myth, the legend, John Rolfe. John Rolfe came to the New World colony of Jamestown on the Third Fleet out from England. At the time, Spain held a virtual monopoly on the lucrative tobacco trade, but Rolfe sneakily managed to steal some rare sweet tobacco seeds and bring them to the New World with him, even though Spain had put a penalty of death on anyone who sold seeds to a non-Spaniard. Also at the time, the tobacco that was tentatively being produced in the English colonies was gross and nobody liked it, so Rolfe desired to create a strain of the crop that was actually good. Using the tasty seeds he stole from Spain, Rolfe experimented with the cultivation until he discovered a way to commercially cultivate it, and a business began.
I'm here to find tobacco! Get rich quick!
People loved the tobacco that Rolfe created, and exports began to grow in huge numbers. Plantations of tobacco grew up and down the James River, where they could easily send their cargo for trade with other countries. The discovery of tobacco allowed the Chesapeake colonies to succeed, given that they had a huge market of people desiring this new tobacco. With the tobacco industry booming, the agriculture sector in the colonies grew, which required an immense amount of labor. This need was temporarily satiated by indentured servitude, which appealed to potential colonists of Great Britain because of the headright system. However, the cost of indentured servitude began to rise, and the headright system meant that they would eventually be freed. This meant that slavery became a more attractive form of labor. Slaves were forced to work for free, would work their entire lives, and could easily be taught the unskilled labor of agriculture. This sharp increase in slavery set the precedent for the continued institution of slavery and oppression that can still be seen today. Slavery became entrenched as an economic necessity in the South as the economy continued to grow, all of which can be credited back to John Rolfe's discovery of the first cash crop.
Rolfe's discovery allowed for the growth and relative prosperity of the American economy and established the southern states as the agricultural sector of the country. Still today, nearly 400 years later, tobacco figures a very significant part into Virginia's economy. Slavery became entrenched in the society and culture of the South, leading to decades of racism and oppression that never quite lost a foothold. It became an issue that was hotly debated in the following decades and centuries, at one point leading to the fracturing of the United States, along with constant violence and endless quests for civil rights.
The issues of slavery and racism created long-lasting changes in the social, political, economic, demographic, and constitutional landscapes of the United States. Altogether, these changes in America can be credited back to the first establishment of slavery in the early colonies. As you can see, John Rolfe's discovery both helped to establish America and its success, and led to the systematic oppression and racism of an entire race of people that still can be seen today.